that shows you how quickly the momentum can swing in an NBA game. You know, we were up 22 or something like that, and we pick up a tee, and the momentum swings the other way. But, you know, and we obviously get outscored 36-18 in the fourth. But there are a couple of areas, X and O-wise, that we talked about before the game. We feel that they're a team that does a great job protecting the paint, and they swarm the paint. We told our guys before the game that you got to spray, because when you're catching that paint or you driving the paint, you got 2, 3, and we even showed a clip where there was 4 guys in the paint when you're catching the paint. And we had 18 turnovers for 24 points. That's probably where the game was lost in that area. Obviously, DeRozan had a big game, Kobe White had a big game, but I felt if we would have done a better job of taking care of the basketball and sprayed the ball when we hit that paint, the game would have been a lot easier for us offensively. We would have had rhythm, we would have flowed a little bit better offensively, and I think eventually guys would end up making shots. Now you got to give them credit, they did a heck of a job defensively, but they were really good in the area that we thought that they were going to be good in, is protecting the paint. Another thing we try to tell our guys is, you know, you can't get too deep against this team. When you dribble drive, the next guy's coming. So you almost have to half dribble drive and just push the ball ahead and let the next guy make the play or take the shot. And I thought a couple of times we got too deep in the paint. Again, the hands were coming, the bodies were coming, and they got deflections and got out and went the other way, you know. There was a point in the game, especially in the first, where we didn't do a great job containing the dribble drive. They snap drived us and got to the rim for layups and or dunks, or they just isoled us and went by us and got to the rim for layups. And there was, I think, the first 6 or 7 minutes of the second quarter, they had 16 points in the paint. You know, we obviously figured that out the rest of that quarter, and they had 2 points in the paint the last 5 minutes, because we sat down and we did a better job of containing the dribble drive and not allowing them to get by us and get to the rim. So our ball containment wasn't good in enough stretches. Our turnovers were very, very, very costly for us tonight. And then, you know, one of the telltale signs for us that you know, is, you know, usually results in wins is the 50-50 balls. And there were 7 of them tonight, you know, equal opportunity chances to get loose balls. And we came up with 2 of them. We came up with 2 50-50 balls, and that's not, as we know, that's not a good percentage when you're trying to win a ball game.
Mike, this seems to be becoming a bit of a trend at home, the blowing double-digit leads. Do you sense or notice any let-up from the guys when they get up to what might feel comfortable, but in the modern NBA with the scoring isn't as comfortable as maybe it used to be?
Yeah, you know, in our business, obviously, that you know, teams can go on a run or the script can flip like that, and before you know it, you're in trouble. And you know, I'm not sure if our guys took their foot off the gas per se. I feel like we didn't do what we should have done, and that was from the beginning, you know, of the game. Even though we had gotten a couple of leads, we were still not doing a good job of moving the basketball, and they were turning us over, and that eventually caught up with us, not just from the turnovers standpoint, but, you know, when we should have moved it and got great looks, guys hit a couple, now they're in rhythm. And, you know, we weren't in rhythm the entire game from the three-point line, and we missed some that we probably would have made. And so, more than anything else, you know, if we're turning the ball over and it's messing with our rhythm a little bit from the three-point line, especially late, then maybe that's the case. I know we turned down a couple of threes late in the game, and we don't ever want to turn down threes. We turn them down and try to drive the basketball, and that's not who we are. So when that ball does get sprayed to you or swung to you and you're wide open, you got to let it fly, you know.
Mike, coming off the big win on Friday, then
Yeah.
the disappointing loss tonight,
Yeah.
what's the mood in there, and what's the message?
It's, the message, you know, you give Chicago credit because they won a basketball game. They did exactly what they do. They played a lot of pick and roll. They try to get downhill, but the biggest thing is they swarm that paint, and they get deflections, and they get out and they run. And so you give them credit because they followed their game plan. But obviously, the move, everybody's down because it was a winnable game. Even though we feel like we didn't play well, we still felt it was a winnable game. And so we felt like that we let this one slip through our fingers, and so it's tough right now. It's tough for anybody to swallow this one.
Mike, what did you think of just some of the late game execution on your guys' end, some of the self-inflicted things that might have happened in there?
Yeah, you know, it's the same thing. I thought late in the game, you know, we went small, and, you know, we went small against Minnesota. We did a nice job moving the ball. We did a great job when we're open, just letting that thing fly. And I thought tonight, again, we got too deep at times, and when we should just got off the ball, we got too deep, turning it over. And then also we had some open looks that we held on to, try to drive or try to play, you know, the dribble handoff game again as the clock's winding down. And, you know, if you pass up an open shot in this league, you will get a lot worse shot or a turnover at the end of the day. And I just, that's how it is. But I also think the basketball guys work the game that way, and it happened to us tonight.
Mike, late in the game, 16 seconds, 14 seconds left.
Yeah.
What was the plan there? Was there a plan to foul early, or was it to just try to get the steal before you eventually ended up fouling DeRozan?
With the 3 seconds to go. So there, if I'm recalling right, James. So there was enough time, like 14-second difference when they got the ball back or something like that, I think. And so we just wanted to try to play that one out. And I think we ended up getting a foul, or the ball went out. We fouled.
Trey dove out of bounds.
Oh, so we got it late. But there was a reason why there was like a 2-second difference. I can't remember why there was a 2-second difference on it, but
They adjusted the clock down to 0.8.
they adjusted the clock back down to 0.8. Yeah. So if I remember right, our whole thing is on the DeRozan thing. We wanted to try to see if before it got shortened, we wanted to just get a stop or see if we can get a steal. Once it got shortened, we wanted to see if we can get a trap and then a steal foul, because I think at that time we might have had 2 timeouts maybe. I would have to go back and watch, but because we didn't want to go down 4 if we can help it. And so our whole thing was see if we can get a trap, see if we can get a steal, and then after that it was steal foul right away.
The Domas fouling out with like 3 minutes to go, just how unfortunate was that to kind of lose him over those last 3 minutes, and how much did that affect what you guys were able to do down the stretch?
No, I mean, it's tough. Anytime you lose, you know, one of your top 2 players down the stretch of a ball game, it's tough, you know. But the reality of it is, it's him fouling out at that point, you know, didn't cost us the game. I think one of you guys said we had a few self-inflicted wounds throughout the course of the game, and not just in the fourth quarter, not just in the last 3 minutes, and so, you know, like I said, it was unfortunate. Obviously, if he and Fox can be on the floor to close a game, man, I'd take that 100 times out of 100 times. But we still had an opportunity when he fouled out. We just didn't close the game.
I think there's been
couple games now where opposing offenses are sort of looking for certain matchups in
Yeah.
their isolation, and how do you feel like you guys have done in executing your defense in those scenarios?
Okay, you know, we gotta sit down and guard, especially, you know, if it's not one of their primary guys. And then, you know, DeRozan, or, you know, anytime he caught on the post, we doubled him tonight. And then we started hitting him, I think in the fourth quarter in his ISO situations, and tried to get the ball out of his hands a couple of times, and you know, other guys made plays for him. You know, Kobe ended up with 37, just because of us doubling, and now the ball's getting swung and we're getting to him, and he's a really good shooter, a high-level shooter, and he's knocking down the right shots. But there was a stretch there that he and Io, the sumo, they just took us off the dribble, and you know, it's tough when you think you gotta double or hit those two guys. So we have to do a better job of trying to contain you know, other guys besides, you know, team's main players, so that we're not running around and double teaming everybody throughout the entire ball game.
Anyone else? Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Mike.